All right. Hey, everyone. Wanted to give you a quick walkthrough on podcast creation or really just any audio editing that you may do in Adobe Audition. I'm going to be sort of structuring this around creating a podcast or an audio recording, but it'll work for just about anything. So, really, the aim of this is to show you the basics of Adobe Audition, which I have open now. I'm going to go ahead and import a audio clip that I can work with. So over here on the left hand side, I'm actually just going to double click in this blank window, and it's going to open up the ability for me to import some audio. So let me go ahead and bring in some audio. Let's do that one right there. So now I've got the waveform view of this, which means I'm just working in this audio clip. So if I play it back,
today I've published the Forrester Wave Evaluation.
I would hear that. But I actually don't want to be in this view right now. I want to be in the Multitrack View. So I'm actually going to go up here to the top left and click on this button that says Multitrack. And it's going to say, okay, do you want to create a new one? Yes, I do. Now, this is where I really want to work. And just in terms of cleaning up your workspace, some of the things that might be helpful to you is, I'm probably really going to focus on just 2 tracks. So I'm just going to drag, see those handles there as I hover over that, drag those. So I've got a little bit more sort of focused view of what I'm going to work on. So now I'm going to drag in my audio that we imported earlier onto here. And there's a couple of things that I'm going to sort of show you how to do here. First off is when I hit spacebar, that's going to actually play. And notice right there, that's a problem for us, is having that bit of audio at the beginning where there's not really anything happening. One of the easy ways to fix that is to hover over the beginning of the clip, and your cursor is going to change into this bracket. That means that I can click and drag, and it's going to actually snap to the playhead. If I didn't want that to happen, I could turn off snapping or just move the playhead out of the way. That's going to help me very easily get rid of the beginning audio. Now, I do need to drag the clip back over, otherwise that blank audio is still going to be there. A couple other things that I might want to do with this clip. I might want to cut it. So I'm actually going to click this razor blade tool up in the top toolbar and say, all right, I'm going to just sort of extract that little bit there. Let's pretend that that's maybe one of my interview sound bites. I'm actually going to move this down onto another track. The question is why might I want to move that onto another track? Can't I just leave it up there? Yeah, you certainly can, but visually, I think it creates some differentiation here. Plus, you might want to manage the volume and the effects on these different tracks separately. We'll get to that in just a second. So I move this now down to the other track. A couple of other things that I might want to do here. Let's say I want to enhance the voice on a specific track. So over here, I'm going to select, track 1 rather than track 2. And over here in my effects rack, I'm going to zoom in here so you can see. There's a bunch of presets. I can make it sound like I'm on a AM radio, which isn't exactly what I'm going for here, but there is one that's pretty good, and it is the podcast voice. This is basically a set of compression and it's going to normalize the volume so that everything is relatively the same, and it's also going to add a compressor on there, which is basically going to improve the quality of the audio and basically your listeners' ability to hear it and things like that. It may work for you, it may not. But the nice thing about this effects rack is that I've also selected that, this is applying it to the track, the entire track. So all of track 1 is going to get this effect, which is good. And that's also part of the reason why I like to split up my voiceover on track 1 and my sound bites on track 2 and maybe any sort of music or effects on track 3. So if I want, I can, very easily turn these off by just clicking those buttons or remove the effect entirely from the track. You can also do something similar over here on the right-hand side. So this is actually going to apply to the specific clip. So if I click this clip and say, I want to optimize that for dialogue, I get now all of these options over here, which are similar to my effects panel. So podcast voice. I can say, this is a male or a female. If I wanted to do any reverb or anything like that, I could do all of those things over here. Generally, we're not sort of doing that. What else? Yeah, I think that's about it. So I've gone through just some basic cuts, some audio effects in terms of edits. One of the things I do want to show you is how to make the transitions between, say, a voiceover and a soundbite just a little bit smoother. So I'm actually going to zoom in here on this clip. And one of the things that's nice to sort of, again, make that transition between, one clip and another clip better is to, one, slightly overlap these. Now, you don't want to overlap them too much, otherwise your voiceover and your soundbite are going to run over each other. But you can also do a sort of a gentle fade out from, the white noise. And right here, I'm just clicking once, and that's going to place a keyframe, and clicking twice, and that's going to add another keyframe. Think of keyframes as basically a start and an end point. So you can see these little keyframes here. That keyframe is my starting point, and that keyframe is my ending point. And in this case, I'm going to want to change the volume of my clip. So I'm going to drag this other keyframe all the way down. And that's going to put the volume at 0. And I'm going to drag this keyframe just a little bit to the right so that we're not cutting off any of my voice. And again, you're starting at this volume and you're ending at that volume. So again, if I put, let's say just for example, I put a couple of keyframes here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what am I doing here? Well, I can actually drag this actually drag this down and drag that down. So now my audio is actually dipping because I've got a start and an end point and a start and an end point. If I got rid of that keyframe, then I would have a start and an end point and a starting point. That's obviously not what I want. So I'm actually just going to delete these. I just wanted to show you an example of what you can do with keyframes. Let's say, for example, I had some music that I was starting with. And I wanted it to, let's pretend that this was a music track. And eventually I started talking, but I wanted the music to continue. What I might do is say, put a keyframe there, put a keyframe there. And now this music track is not going to dip all the way down to, nothing. It's not going to go away, but it's going to stay, at a lower volume when my voice starts to come in. So it's actually going to be nice because the music will start loud, it'll begin to fade down, but it won't completely disappear. And it will basically create that background music throughout the entire clip. So a lot of cool things you can do with keyframes. This actually adds a lot of polish to a finished piece of work. So it's a nice way to kind of do that. Now, over here, I'm probably going to want to add some keyframes to kind of bring up my audio Now that's going to be my endpoint. Oops. And I'm going to add another keyframe to start. And now my audio is going to fade, gently sort of fade between.
It is super hot in our 2020 business technographics.
You're not going to be able to hear it here, but if you're listening to it with headphones, you certainly can. It just gives a lot of nice polish to it. So that's effectively it in terms of what you need to do with audio edits or a podcast. It's pretty straightforward. We've gone through basic cuts, basic edits, audio management, applying effects to the track, and so on. So that's kind of your crash course in terms of audio editing inside of Audition. These are obviously just the basics. And now that I'm finished, I need to get this audio out of Audition. So I'm going to go up to File, Export, Multitrack Mixdown, and Entire Session. And I'm going to save this on my desktop. I can leave all of the presets the same and click OK. And now Audition has done its thing. It's exported it with all of the effects and changes that I've applied to it. And now I'm going to go over to Soundcloud and upload that audio file so that we have a place for people to listen to it. But before I do that, one of the things that, again, I think gives a lot of nice polish to these audio projects is creating basically some cover art, a poster image that goes along with the topic that you are producing your audio for. So I like to use Adobe Spark for this. I'm going to choose Instagram post because I want just a one by one image. And I can either create this completely from scratch or I can use a template. So if I wanted to, I could bring in an image that is maybe I'll start with a template here. And while this loads, I'll just sort of talk to you about what I'm doing. This is, again, we're creating this poster image. I'm going to swap out these photos, and you're going to see, kind of exactly what I'm doing here. Let's bring in that vaccine image, fit it right in. Sort of doing its thing. Maybe we'll bring in another. Now we're going to edit our text here. I'm going to sort of delete all this extra stuff that I don't need. Certainly don't want the kind of broccoli and plant background here. And we probably want a more authoritative font. There we go. So again, I'm just doing something quick here. There's a lot of features inside of Spark. So you sort of have to play around with it to, understand all of it. But this is basically something very, very quick that I can do. Maybe I just want to add a little bit of polish here too. And bring in maybe this here. Maybe make it white. Give it a little bit of transparency. Yeah, something like that. Just for a little bit of extra polish. All right. So I'm happy with it. I could spend all day in this if I wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead and download that as a PNG. And I'm going to go over here to Soundcloud. And show you the upload process. I'm going to click over here and click Upload. I'm going to choose the track that I want to upload. That is one of the recent ones that I exported. There it is. You want to make sure that you get the WAV file and not this PKF file, which is the Adobe Audition file. So again, I'm going to click WAV. I'm going to put in a relevant title. I'm going to choose my genre as probably news or whatever I'm targeting. Additional tags, description, caption, if you'd like. The more information that you provide, basically that more of the metadata that you provide, the better likelihood that someone's going to be able to find what you're producing. I'm not going to fill all this out just in the interest of time. I'm going to upload my poster image. And depending on the visibility that you want around this, since this is just a demo, I'm going to keep this as private. If I wanted people to be able to find this or have it search indexed, then I would move it to public. So just so you see kind of what's going on here. Again, private means that I'm going to share a link with someone and only that person with the link will be able to view it. Public means that it's going to be indexed by search and anyone basically on the internet will be able to listen to it. I'm going to hit save. And now if we use this link here, that's going to bring us directly to our file that we created. So again, it's really nice in terms of our poster image. If we wanted to, we could embed this on a website, on a mobile experience with this code here. Gives us a lot of flexibility. We could choose what the player actually looks like as well. So that's really nice as well. And that's basically it. So again, the full workflow around editing audio. If you've got any questions, let me know. But thanks for watching.